back to another episode of Teachable Life Moments with Keeler. All right, I hope you all have been staying safe and I hope you are taking good care of yourself. I know it's still tough out there in a lot of ways. We will get through this. We've just got to stay focused and follow the guidelines that are set forth. And, listen to your own spirit as well when it comes to safety. I know that they're starting to relax on a lot of the COVID-19 guidelines, but we are going to use wisdom. We are going to listen to ourselves, listen to what the spirit has to say, listen to what the ancestors are saying. That's a new term that's being used a lot, listen to what the ancestors are saying, or sprinkle enough, keep sprinkling the salt on until the ancestors tell you to stop. Well, you know what? Keep wearing your mask, washing your hands, and social distancing until the ancestors tell you to stop. So, folks, we are back to talk about another topic that I think will be very helpful and encouraging to you, because I know a lot of people are still struggling in this country and around the world with COVID-19. It has impacted lives in some very, very hard ways, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, like never before. And so I am here to present this episode in an effort to try to help us fight through this and come out with victory, because we can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. And we just have to remember, when to pull out which tool out of our war chest. And so today's episode is just to kind of give us something to think about and to shake us and jolt us and help us to see that, there is already a way. This situation that we are confronting, at some point throughout history, there has been a group of people that was going through a very, very dark time, and they overcame. They made it through, and the same shall be so for many of us. So I want to start out with talking about what the topic is. Today's topic of the episode is making bricks without straw. Making bricks without straw. And you've probably heard that term before, making bricks without straw. It's an idiom, and it basically means you have been tasked to get something done without having the appropriate resources. Now, I know a lot of you listeners out there probably are going to be able to relate to this. Are you building something and you're doing it or having to do without the appropriate resources? If not now, maybe in the past you've had to build something without having the appropriate resources. One thing that comes to mind is if someone is starting a new business, a lot of times you will not have the appropriate resources. You may not be able to get a loan, may not have good credit to get the loan, may not have, the finances to make the purchases to get whatever it is you need for the business, maybe to buy supplies or to pay staff. And so you just have to make it happen with what you have. And in making bricks, I did some research to figure out, what is it about bricks? Why is straw so necessary? Well, straw is necessary because without the straw, the brick will crumble and break easily. So the straw is what gives the brick stability. So when you look at it and understand it from that perspective, then you can see why it's so imperative that we have straw. But today's episode is to encourage us and help us to realize that we don't have to always have what we think we need. with the help of God, He will empower us and bless us to begin to step and operate in a realm and function in a way where we're able to do things outside of the groupthink of society and what they say is required. So when you think about making bricks without straw, there is a story in the Bible in Exodus, the 5th chapter. And it talks about in that chapter how the children of Israel was in bondage to Pharaoh. And, Pharaoh was a cruel taskmaster. He was the ruler of Egypt. And the children of Israel were kept in slavery there. When you think of being in slavery, sometimes it's not always the type of slavery that the children of Israel experienced. Some of us right now may be in a situation where it feels like slavery. You're battling, a health problem, you're battling a financial problem, you're battling a family problem or a career problem, a problem on the job, and it just seems like it's just not going to get better. So you feel trapped. You feel like you're not free. You feel like you're being held against your will. But the children of Israel, they were kept in slavery and they were required to make bricks. They were hated and they were despised. And so you can see just from that little bit that they were dealing with a lot, as most people are when they are on the brink of a major, major breakthrough, a major, major transformation, a major, major change in the trajectory of their life. You always experience that dark moment before the dawning of the new day comes. Pharaoh, those of us that have a church background that are familiar with the story, we know that he refused to let them go. And he told them that after Moses went to him and told him that God told him to let the people go, he said, "No, I'm not going to let them go. In fact, I'm going to make their tasks even more difficult." Isn't that how life is sometimes here in 2021? Same thing, the same game, same script. You're trying to do better for yourself. You're trying to move forward. You're trying to progress. You're trying to build wealth, to create legacy, create generational wealth, create business, launch a product, launch a new brand, and you want to be free to do that. But you are dealing with a Pharaoh spirit and it doesn't want to let you go. It doesn't want you to move forward or to progress. So he got, stiff-necked and his heart was hard. And he told him, "Look, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to make the brick making task even more difficult. And so now you guys have got to make bricks without straw being provided for them." And so when the people heard that, they were so crushed, because as you can imagine, being a slave to any situation is very exhausting and draining. And to hear that he is not going to let you go, he's going to make your job even harder. Some of you are working on jobs and you feel like you are the children of Israel on that job. And I know that can be crushing and you feel like there's no way out. But today's episode is designed to let us know that there is a way out, and that even though we may not have all the resources, we can still perform the supernatural in the midst of not having what we need. The thing is about this particular topic today, when you think about the bricks, when I opened up, I told you what's required to make the bricks, how important the straw was. And so when they heard that they was no longer going to be provided the straw, in fact, he told them, "Y'all gonna have to just go and get it yourself. We're not going to bring the straw to you all. You're going to have to go and get it." So, okay, not only we got to go out here and make these bricks, go get our own straw, and we still got to produce the quota, the brick quota every day. And that can really tick you off. That can make you turn homicidal, suicidal. And even some of us, that are dealing with whatever we're dealing with, some of you out there may have had those homicidal, suicidal thoughts because you're like, look, I don't see a way out. This feels like bondage. This feels like, I feel so hopeless. But hold on. This was frustrating. When you think about making a brick, there's a process to it. You first have to mix some soil and some water, and then that has to turn into a thick mud, and then you need to add some sand, and then you're going to mix your straw and some grass or either pine needles, and then you're going to pour it into some molds. And then after that, the molds typically have to sit out in the hot sun for about 5 days or so. So you can see that's a process. And if you're used to them bringing the straw, okay, that at least kind of help you to not have to deal with the burden of going and finding it. And then, you could lose time just trying to find it. But be encouraged, because even in that, the very fact that Pharaoh told them that go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet ye shall deliver the tale number of bricks. Now, when you are dealing with whatever your situation is right now, the fact that you are being asked to do a difficult task is a prophetic indication that you have angelic backup to assist you. You have supernatural backup to assist you in achieving and fulfilling the task. When we look at verse 18, and they're telling them that you still gotta go get your own straw, we're not providing it. The God was letting them know that, you know what, you have just stepped in to a spiritual law. I am going to show you how to get this done, even with all these difficult circumstances around producing the bricks. Which means that God is letting us know, don't worry about it. Relax. He is the God of the supernatural. And you are still going to be able to produce. You're going to be able to produce without having the appropriate resources. You are going to be able to get it done without having the help that you need. There are other ways. God has a trillion different ways to get something done. So don't let them listening to them telling you what they're not going to do for you, how they're not going to help you, or listening to your own mind tell you how it's not going to work out. It's impossible to build these bricks without straw. No. You've got to realize when someone is giving you a prophetic implication, instead of thinking that it is something to kind of bring your spirit down when you're hearing them tell you, oh, you got to go get your own straw. You got to still make the brick quota. That's enough to make you just go into doubt, frustration, hopelessness. But flip that and step into spiritual law, because they have just told you what needs to happen and what can happen. You are going to have to invoke supernatural reinforcements. Now, when we look at life in Egypt and look at our life here today in 2021, as it relates to dealing with a situation that could be stressful and a situation that could be, fearful, because you just don't know how you're going to be able to pull this off, because you know what your Egypt situation is or your brick situation is right now. And one of the things that we can have in common with Egypt is that us having destructive thinking. Egypt is indicative of destructive thinking, negative thinking, hopeless thinking, fear, faithless thinking. It could be indicative of pride and fear, resentment. It could be debt, bills, health issues, etc., family issues, whatever it is. This is what Egypt represents. And we want to get away from all of that, right? We want to get away from that. All right here, I am going to take a pause, and this is the conclusion of part 1 of how we're going to make these bricks without straw. Join me on the next episode as I continue in part 2 on making bricks without straw.